welcome to another edition of The Teaching Lady. This time, we're in the wood shop. Village stand. What is that, you say? Well, it's a stand for all her houses at Christmas time. You know, when you put the little villages together and you have the snow and the greenery and all the little people and everything. Well, she wanted something that wouldn't take up a whole lot of space, but she could display all of her buildings on it. And so she found something online and she sent it to me and said, hey, can you build this? And I thought, well, I'll give it a try. I've never made one before, but we're going to go ahead and go for it. So I studied the pictures, looked at some YouTube videos of what some other people did, and lo and behold, I think we got it. But I want to show you what the base looks like. Now, I didn't record cutting the base and putting it together, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what the base looks like that holds this stand together. All right, well, here we go. Now, as you can see, we've got some 2x4s here, and here's my assistant, Shadow. She's decided to come in. So we have some 2x4s here, and we made a brace. And then this is actually the bottom shelf out of some plywood. Now, it just so happens that I got the plywood for a very good deal at the big box store off the 70% rack. Listen, folks, this is a hint and a good tip for you. If you're looking for some plywood, especially those of you who are coming into hurricane season, the big box store will occasionally, and actually I've found it more often than not, have cut pieces of plywood in the excess rack, the 70% off rack, because what happens is people come in there and they buy plywood and they have it cut specific sizes to take home because they don't have the saws at home to cut it. And then they leave the scraps there on that 70% off rack. So you can get plywood pretty cheap. And that's what ended up happening here is I got plywood that was thick enough for the job from the big box store for 70% off. So we made use of it. These 2x4s, same thing. I had them laying around and I just went ahead and cut those. Now I made this is not my design, I'll just tell you up front, this is not my design. But I went ahead, I saw this guy make this online. This is what is going to hold the stand up, okay? And I'm going to show you in a minute what it looks like. But as of right now, I've got the whole thing done, but I'm not going to show you just yet. But this is the bottom, this will be the base. And what I'm going to do to level it is I'm going to put some leveling screws on here so that I can level it easier. And then we're going to go from there. All right, so here we have the Christmas Village stand. And as you can see, we started out with round on the bottom. And I've got my 2x4s. I've got two 2x4s screwed together. And then I have brackets going all the way around. And what I'm going to do, what I added were brackets here. But you know, quite honestly, this bracket all the way up, 6 feet. As you can see, that is 6 feet tall. And so every 17.5 inches I placed a bracket. I've got that many shelves. I've got the shelves cut out, as you can see. They will go around the 2x4s, and I'll just give you an idea here of what I'm talking about. And I'll show you why I want to reinforce them. So it sits like that, okay? And I've got one that I'm working on, and it sits up here. And some of them are a little bit tight, but that's all right. I can get it worked through there. I don't mind it being snug, quite honestly. All right, there you go. And then I've got one last shelf. Actually, I have two. But these things just slip on here. Okay. Now the reason why I'm going to brace these a little bit better, even if I was to screw that onto the bracket underneath, it's still not very sturdy. So I'm going to put braces. I cut out some braces here, and I'm going to put two of these braces, one underneath on each side, to make that shelf more sturdy, because I'm thinking that when I put weight on there, the shelf is going to wobble. Even though I've got it screwed, it's kind of laid down on one side, so I need it to be level. Okay, so here I have my braces. They're cut. Use my miter saw. Cut my braces, and I'm going to drill holes, 2 holes in each one, and attach them to the Christmas tree stand. And they're going to go, as I pointed out, underneath here to give this extra support. There's also one that goes and sits on the top up here, and I'll install that in a little bit. Alright, so I have my holes pre-drilled in this wood. These are my braces. Now, I pre-drilled the holes because when I tried to just screw directly into the 2x4 through the pieces of wood, it cracked this little wood. So I decided to just start over with a better piece of wood, a little thicker, and pre-drill the holes instead, hoping that will make a big difference. So now I'm ready to attach them. Alright, so I'm continuing to screw my brackets on. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've already got my lines drawn, so I know where these go. And what I decided to do was to drill a countersink in this so that the screw would go in there and kind of hide a bit and not be sticking out so far. Not to mention, I'd get a little more grab inside the 2x4 than what I would have gotten. Alright. So I'm just making sure that I line up. Sorry, it's hot out here. I normally have my fan on, but it's a little louder than what I'm saying. This top one will be for the very top shelf that's going to sit up here. Now, technically, I could just put it up here and screw it down. However, when I made these, I actually cut the hole. So I can do it one of two ways on this very thing. Sorry, my little driveway thing is getting in the way. I can do this one of two ways. I could set it up here and forget about it, or I can go ahead and make it like the rest, and then the 2x4 will just fill in the hole like the rest of them do. I think that's what I'm going to do. Rather than try and cut another circle and get another piece of wood, I'll just make use of this. It's going to be covered anyway with snow, so I think it's going to be okay. since we know that it's the top, I don't have to really draw lines because I'm just going to line it up with the top of this 2x4, but I got to get something to stand on to be able to get it exact. And well, tick tock, tick tock. All right, well, as you can see, I have finished putting the brackets underneath and I have all the shelves on. Now what I'll probably do is drive a screw into each of the shelves on the bracket to where it doesn't fall off or wobble. Now you want to get an idea of what we're talking about here. I'm going to show you with my friend's house. So, and provided, and it shouldn't fall because I've got it stabilized underneath as well as I have a bracket under there. Now you say, well, where does this go? Ah, that's the beauty about this Christmas stand, see? It goes in the back. And I'll spin this around and show you, for those of you who didn't catch it earlier, as to why I cut a groove in the plywood. That was to allow for all the cords. If your Christmas village lights up, the cords have to go somewhere. Now I'm doing this slowly because I don't have these shelves fully attached and I don't want to break my friend's house. But to give you an idea, this, see, just like that. But see, that's a good test because now I know they have to be attached or they'll flip out. And thank God I had to hold my hand on this pretty little Christmas house here. But now the cord goes right down in between, okay? So if even if I had it up here, the cord, all the cords come right down here and go out to your plug. That's the beauty about this design, whoever designed this. This is not my design. This is what my friend sent me to make for her for Christmas. So the bottom shelf is 2 feet and the top I believe is about 12 inches. So I just worked my way up from there, going smaller and smaller. Now to make the circles, I used trash can lid. I even used a party platter. How about that for ingenious? And I used a bucket for a couple of others. You can go as wide as you want on the bottom. It kind of depends on how much space you have. My friend has 2 feet. She doesn't have a whole lot of room, but we figured, you know what, this will be a good start, and then she won't have everything crammed on the television stand. So anyhow, I'm going to secure these shelves because obviously with the weight, they would fall off and things would break. It's another reason why I wanted to put these brackets, because I wanted to have something to screw to. So I can actually run screws in the back here and you won't see them. The great thing about this, here's the other great thing about this stand, you can paint it whatever color you want. You can leave it plain. You're going to probably put, as she does, that white fluffy stuff that looks like snow. So this will be covered, and by the time you put that on, your greenery in your houses, you won't be able to see this. She can paint it if she wants to. That's up to her. But that's what we're doing in the workshop today, is making a Christmas village stand. Well, and here we go, the finished product. We have our Christmas village stand. It stands 6 feet high. Each shelf starting at 12 inches, working all the way down to 2 feet at the bottom. And as I said earlier, you can make them as wide as you want depending on how much space you have in your area. We've got our one village that kind of gave me a guide. I still have plenty of room. This is the tallest house. So technically, if you wanted to, you could add a few more shelves in here and it would be okay. It's sturdy. It's attached by a 2x4, so it's not going to fall over. And we've got at that channel in the back where our cords will go and any leftovers. This has been a fun project to make. And maybe this is something that you too could make if you have a Christmas village at home. Well, this is the teaching lady. I'm going to check out right now, go in and get a cold drink of water because it is hot. You take care. care, God bless you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.